Welcome whānau to this Warhammer Underworlds Battle Report, which sees the Stormcast spellcasters known as Stormsire's Cursebreakers face off against the fanatical worshippers of Khorne, Garrak's Reavers. Continuing the Warhammer Underworlds Battle League featuring 12 warbands fighting for supremacy within the mirrored city, all for the promised prize of salvation by the Lord of Death himself, Nagash. No underlying narrative to this, just simply throwing models on the tabletop for your entertainment. And we're using the rules for Shadespire and Night Vault. We do not currently have Beastgrave, but as usual, we make best with what we've got. So sit back and enjoy, and if you want to see more from me, make sure to subscribe. I post weekly Warhammer videos and other tabletop gaming stuff, as well as a bit of Let's Play action from my PlayStation. Check me out, I am the maoriwargamer. But we'll kick into turn number 1. Garrak's Reavers kicking us off first as we enter the mirrored city for exciting combat in the world of Warhammer Underworlds. So there's our board deployment. Our objectives have been placed, our fighters have been placed as well, with Garrak's Reavers kicking off on this side. I will take a closer look at the boards. Deployment for Garrak's Reavers are 5 fanatics of Khorne looking to get blood for the blood god, more skulls for their skull throne. They've taken the more defensible map, can't pass through here. They've got objectives 4, Objective 2 and Objective 5. With one of the big heavy damage dealers, the Blooded Psyche. Moving forward, he's got his great axe overhead. So he's in the front lines. Garrak Gorebeard himself not too far behind. Everyone else spread out across the deployment. So we know they play hard, they play fast. Let's take a look on the other board. And here for Stormsire's Cursebreakers, they're deployed here on this arcane courtyard. Arcane hazards scattered across, causing damage to anyone moving through it. They've got objectives 3 loaded here, objective 1 loaded here. So the Cursebreakers were at work securing the site, but now they find themselves sprung. The ambush upon them by Garrak's Reavers. They'll need to call all their spells and hope that their Sigmarite armor can hold against the fury of Khorne. So that's our board, that's our deployments. Garrak's Reavers taking turn number 1. So let's go straight into it. Turn number 1, activation number 1. So the Blooded Psyche lets out a bestial roar as he dashes across the battlefield. 1, 2, 3, 4. Looking to get in and fight Stormsire himself, ending their first activation. We'll move over to activation for Stormsire's Cursebreakers. Averon Stormsire, one of the God King's most trusted arcane agents, sees the arrival of the Blooded Psyche right here, and wields his staff, raises it in the air, encanters staff, rolling 2 dice, looking for hammers, looking for crits. He's going to fire an arcane bolt into the Khorne worshipper. So hammers and crits. Double swordies, not today. Alright, so Stormsire, his first attack was a dud. Opted not to use a spell. They inspire when they cast a spell, but he does more damage with his regular attack, so no need for me to do anything like that unless I get a ploy I can use or some sort of gambit. So continuing the next activation 2 for Garrak's Reavers. Garrak's wielding the Blood Drinker axe. He's just moved 1, 2, 3, 4 up here, getting into position, looks to back up his buddy, and they'll take down Stormsire. In return, activation number 2 for the Stormcast. 1, 2, 3. So the slower units, but hopefully the defenses will come into play. So Amos Dawnguard, no, that's not Amos. No, that is Amos. Amos Dawnguard moves to match Garrak, provides support there to Stormsire in the distance. and into activation number 3. Karsus the Chained is going to move up for the 3rd activation. Before we do that though, my opponent played a ploy. Khorne calls. The blood god's gaze falls upon you. Do not fail him. Roll 1 extra attack dice for your first attack in the next activation. So Karsus is going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, and he's going to hurl his chained axe into Amos Dawnguard here. So he gets to make 3 base attacks with the chained axe, as well as 1 additional for Khorne calls. So we'll see how that all plays out. Roll off for combat. Alright, so Karsus the Chained hurling his chain axe into Amos Dawnguard. 4 attack dice, he'll be hitting on swords, he'll be hitting on crits. So rolling off now. We've got 1 sword, 1 crit. So 2 defense, well, 1 defense dice actually. Alright, so Amos has taken 2 wounds by Karsus's chained axe. Get to roll 1 defense dice, hopefully to cancel out. Nothing, so 2 hits. So she will take, it's only 1 damage apiece, thankfully. So Karsus sent his chain axe flying across into Amos. She failed her defense rolls and took 2 damage. So she has 2 more wounds remaining, but has been bloodied by the attack. We'll move into the 3rd activation now for Stormsire's Cursebreakers. Alright, so Amos Dawnguard dropped to her knees, taking 2 damage from Karsus the Chained. Blood pouring from her armor, she kneels, gets to her feet. In the distance, leader of the Cursebreakers, Averon Stormsire, looks on in anger. His eyes glow a fierce white, and he unleashes a cry of thunder upon his enemies. Cry of thunder. The caster unleashes a bellow of thunderous power that shatters stones and crumbles bones to dust. So choose an enemy fighter. That fighter and any fighters adjacent to that fighter suffer 1 damage. So he's going to focus his rage upon Karsus the Chained. He was also standing next to Garrak Gorbeard, channeling his might. 2 dice, we're looking for lightnings or crits. Oh, and double lightnings, goes off. So a bolt of lightning strikes down upon these 2 here, but only does 1 damage, so nothing to sing about just yet. However, Amos may have been wounded, but she's not out for the count. She's actually going to use sidestep. Quick footwork can position a warrior for the killing blow. So she's only moved, she didn't charge. So she's going to move forward here, up to Karsus, and we're going to use Storm Strike. The weapons of Sigmar's battle wizards crackle with fulminating energy, a devastating charge that is unleashed with the moment they strike home. So +1 damage to the first attack action in the next activation, which is our one now, activation number 3. And lastly, because we successfully cast that spell, the Cry of Thunder, Averon Stormsire becomes Stormsire Inspired. So a bit going on in that end of the 3rd activation for Khorne. Very exciting, and Amos is ready to swing in again. Amos Dawnguard wields her Tempest Blade infused with electrical energies, blessed by Sigmar. She swings in 3 attacks into Karsus, who has been wounded by the Cry of Thunder. So we're looking for 3 attacks. We're hitting on swords, we're hitting on crits. 1 sword, but that's all we need because 1 does 3 damage, and he's already wounded 1, so we just need you to fail that 1 defense dice. Alright, so 1 successful attack with the Tempest Blade. She's wounded, she wasn't as effective as she thought she'd be. Karsus is going to try escape that. Can he dodge on a arrow or a crit? Rolling off. Oh, baby. He's not successful. She goes in, rips it straight through him. Death to Casters the Chain. 1 glory point to Stormsire's Cursebreakers, and moving into the final activation for Garrak's Reavers. Alright, so as Casters dies, my opponent played Final Blow. These cannibal madmen don't die easy. I've seen one strike the head from his killer even as his guts spilled out. So play this after an enemy fighter's attack action takes an adjacent friendly fighter out of action. Their attacker suffers 1 damage. So as the blade runs straight through, he moves forward and cuts at her with the dagger before dying. So brings her down 1 more damage. So Amos only has 1 hit point left now. She is on her last legs. Alright, so I may have made a miscalculation when I used the sidestep on Amos. I moved her here so that if the attack failed, he wouldn't be supported by Garrak. Except I was not aware how mobile these guys are. So, what's this guy? Targor gets to move 1, 2, 3, 4 onto objective 5 because I moved here and not here, and he is going to swing in with his gore axe and blade, chopping into Amos, who, remember, she's only got 1 wound left at this point. Alright, so the warriors of Garrak's Reavers have great mobility, high speed, high attacks. So Targor running in, he's a recent addition to the ranks of Garrak's killers, and he's going to chop in against the wounded Amos. He'll be hitting on swords or crits. 2 attacks rolling in now. Sword and a hammer. So need to just make 1 defense dice, and we can block this on a shield. So get lucky, Sigmar. Oh, boom. So he rolls in, she manages to parry the blow. So unsuccessful, and that's going to end their activation. The final activation for Garrak's Reavers turn 1. Onto my final activation now. In my final activation, simply going to move Rastus the Charmed. He's going to start advancing forward towards everyone else. Probably should have deployed him up there. I know everything's better in hindsight or foresight, whatever you call it. But that's going to end the 4th activation. That means round 1 is going to end as well. So end of round 1, we've got Rastus here, Stormsire, he's inspired, few enemies across, Amos heavily wounded, objective 5 claimed, and this guy off in the distance. We'll go in and check if anyone's gained any objectives. We're currently on 1 glory point to the Stormcast, 0 to Garrak's Reavers. So we'll check for objectives, redraw some cards, and come back for round number 2. Alright, so Garrak's Reavers are kicking off round number 2. Above here we've got the wounded Amos. We've got Targor here, but neither of them are going to move in yet. So my opponent's activated the Blooded Psychic. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's having a change of path, so he's not going to go for the leader, he's going for the bloodied one. He smells the scent of blood, and he's moving in for the kill. So swinging his great axe, he'll be supported by Targor as they attack the wounded Amos Dawnguard, rolling 2 dice, looking for hammers, crits, or supports. Alright, so the Blooded Sake lets out a blood-chilling scream, loosing himself in, sniffing the scent of blood. He's a great white shark. The ocean is the mirrored city. Swinging in, he will be hitting hammers, crits, and support. 2 dice rolling in now. And 2 successful attacks. We get 1 defense dice roll. And that's a failed. And that is her head. Decapitation. She disappears in a peal of thunder. That's 1 glory point to Garrak's Reavers, tying the game 1-1. Alright, so Averon Stormsire is furious at the death of one of his companions. He hasn't been imbued with great strength, upgraded with his glory point, giving him +1 damage to all attack actions. My opponent has also imbued an upgrade onto Garrak Gorebeard, leader of the Reavers, with Frenzy, so giving him an extra attack dice when he makes a charge. So both leaders are powered up, but it's Stormsire's turn now, and I'm just going to move him straight into the fray. 1, 2, 3, straight up here, and we're going to swing his Incanter's Staff. 2 attack dice, hitting on hammers, hitting on crits. 1 crit. But that'll be enough to kill him because he's got +1 damage and he's already been wounded by the Cry of Thunder. So we just need 1 defense dice from Garrak. Alright, so Garrak, he will defend and he needs a crit. And no, that's not going to do. So the Incantor's Staff swings up. Boom, bolt of lightning. Ooh. Garrak Gorebeard out for the count. Infused by the might of Sigma, the rage of Stormsire. Stormsire takes out the enemy warband leader, gaining another glory point as we move into the second activation for turn number 2. Alright, so I actually gained an objective, Measured Strike. Magic is a dangerous tool indeed. One must channel it precisely and to decisive effect. Score this immediately if a friendly fighter makes a successful action that deals exactly enough damage to take their target out of action. Which we just did when we slayed Garrak Gorebeard. He had 3 wounds left. We an attack with the Incanter's Staff imbued with great strength upgrade, dealing exactly 3 damage to take out his exactly 3 health. So that is another glory point to Stormsire's Cursebreakers. Bringing us up now, we have 3 glory to my opponent's 1 glory as we move on to activation number 2. And as the blood of Garrak Gorebeard seeps into the stone floors of the mirrored city, a chill wind sweeps through. The remaining fighters of the Reavers begin to laugh, quiet at first and then descends into mad laughter, loud and fanatical. As the third fighter goes out of action, they all become inspired to greater heights of depravity, fury, and rage. So the remaining fighters of Garrak's Reavers have been inspired with the death of a third fighter. Arnulf, 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going to dash across the battlefield and drive his piercing blade into Stormsire and get revenge for Garrak. So he's going to be rolling 3 attacks, hitting on swords or crits. Alright, 3 attacks, rolling on swords or crits. Oh, nothing. Oh, wow. Nothing, that's good to go. And with that, miss. Rastus is going to move 1, 2, 3 down here, holding objective 1. Alright, so end of round number 2, we both opted to draw objective cards for the remaining 2 activations of turn 2. End of round 2 in this Warhammer Underworlds Battle report between Stormsire's Cursebreakers and Garrak's Reavers, with both sides opting to draw objectives for their remaining 2 activations. Yeah, a bit of a change of gameplay. Both all units that could activate an attack had done so, although this guy here, Targor, decided to stay on objective 5. And here's the objectives gained at the end of this round. So my opponent gained hold objective 5 there. That's why Targor decided not to move, and also gained It Begins. The first kill is the greatest. That first arc of hot blood through the air. the first scream of agony as your axe sinks home, the blooded sake. So that's what he uttered when he tore the head off Emma Stormguard. So score this if at least one fighter from each warband is out of action. That's 2 glory points to my opponent. That pulls him right up to 3 glory points. So those 2 objectives gained end of round 2. That's 2 glory points to my opponent, bringing them up for 3. On my side, Rastus gained an objective for holding objective number 1. So that is 4 glory to me, 3 to the Garrak's Reavers. So we only got a 1 point lead. As we move into the final round, we'll redraw objective cards. We'll redraw whatever the grey ones are called. Spend some glory upgrading. We've got 2 left there, 3 left here. Everyone's at full health. So we're coming to end game, figure out what's going to happen. Don't go anywhere, Whānau. Warhammer Underworlds Battle Report. Alright, so round 3. New cards have been drawn, plans have been made. Currently 4 glory to the Stormcast, 3 to Garrak's Reavers. Stormsire is going to kick us off with an activation, and he is going to take on... actually, he is going to stay where he is and just swing into Arnulf. So 2 attacks, swinging in, Incanter's Staff. He's got great strength. We're looking for hammers or crits. 1 hammer, that one is cocked. So just 1 hammer. So we are looking for 1 dodge or 1 crit. Oh, and he cancels it out with a critical defense. So he's good. Alright, so they are going to mob Stormsire, looking to take the head of the enemy warband leader. The blooded Psyche makes a blood offering. Witness my offering, Lord of Skulls, and send me worthy foes to butcher. So he makes a large incision on his arm, giving up his blood offering. He gets to roll 2 extra attack dice in his next activation, which is now. So he's going to be rolling 4 attack dice into Stormsire. Now these are 4 big heavy hits, dealing 3 damage per hit. He's going to be hitting on hammers, he's going to hit on crits, and he is also supported by Arnulf. So 4 dice rolling in, it's going to be deadly. Oh, nothing. Absolutely nothing. What a loser. What an absolute loser. He had the ripest opportunity to kill, and he did nothing. Good for him. Into the second activation for Stormsire. Second activation for Stormsire, we've got Rastus. He's been powered up with Hurricane Step and Lightning Whip, dashing across from objective 1, 1, 2, 3, bang, onto objective 3, and he's going to hang out here. No surprises as to what objectives I've got in my hand. Alright, now Arnulf, inspired. He's going to make a move. 1, 2, 3, 4. Into Stormsire. So we've got 3 mobbing into Stormsire. He's attacking in his oh, this isn't Arnulf, this is Targor. He's got 3 attacks hitting on swords, crits, and supports. Alright, Targor, the newest addition to Garrak's Killers, lets out a roar, inspired by the blood seeping through the stone. He's going to move through here, up with his buddies, and the 3 of them are going to pile in onto Stormsire. He's got 3 attacks hitting on swords, crits, and supports. So 3 attacks, rolling in. Oh, all 3 successes, doing 2 damage each, so a total of 6 coming his way. We've got 2 defense dice to roll. Looking for shields or crits. Well, actually, Alright, so we cancel out those two and take 2 damage, but we've still got 2 left. Third activation over here, Rastus is going to cast an Empower spell, going off on Lightning. Boom, he's successful. So that empowers his next actions if he does have an attack, but also enough for me to gain an objective. Harness a storm. With a gesture, the Ether Mage calls a storm to their fingertips, unleashing its devastating power upon the foe. So that brings us up to 5 glory points to my opponent's 3, as we move into activation number 3 for Garrak's Reavers. Alright, so Arnulf is going to attack in. He's with all his mates. They're going to pile on and continue to attack into Stormsire. He's got his piercing blade and axe. He's also powered up with some blood rain. So when the blood rain comes, Khorne's faithful are masked by the profane deluge. So all attack actions in the next activation have the sword characteristic, even if they would normally have the hammer. So he's going to be hitting on hammers, supports, and crits, and swords. So hits on everything under the sun. 3 attacks rolling in. So 2 successes, and we're rolling 2 defenses. My defense dice are there. So Stormsire is near death. However, he saves both of those attacks and doesn't feel a thing. So an absolute unit he is, defending all blows. I mean, look, he's got 3 bloody, like, maniac warriors stabbing and cutting into him, and he's like flashing them back, lights coming off. He's going like full Gandalf on this one, so what a boss. Into the final activation for both of us, and we'll wrap up the final round. Alright, so both sides again just throwing objectives for their final activations, and we come to the end of round 3 and the end of the game. So currently the score stands 4 glory points to Stormcast, 3 to Garrak's Reavers, and we're just going to draw objectives now, because I know I've only got 1, so gain objective 3, bringing me up to 5 glory points. So it's going to stand with you, on my opponent. What did they have up their sleeve? As we pull back that board there. What do they have up their sleeve? They failed to actually do anything and kill Stormsire. He evaded every blow they made. So what do you got? Alright, so that is this game done. Garrak's Reavers steal the win at the last minute, the absolute last minute. I thought I did really well, like especially, yeah, I thought I defended well. I thought Amos was going to die real early turn 1, but she managed to hang on. Got my sidestep to bounce her up forward and take a kill. And I thought I did really good. I could have used Rastus a bit more. He was hanging back doing nothing, but I thought I'd done well with the objectives. That was pretty good. A big 3-point objective, 3-point glory for that objective. That was a bit game changing, and easy as well. I had no idea. But that's just the way things go in the Mirrored City. Fighting for your life, fighting for survival, fighting for the promise of escape of this cursed place by Nagash himself. So those are the stakes, that's what they fight for. That's what hangs in the balance upon victory or death. So Garrak's Reavers will be advancing to the next round. Stormsire's Cursebreakers are eliminated from the bracket. Garrak's Reavers will be up against the Sepulchral Guard in their next battle in the bracket. So stay tuned to the Warhammer Underworlds Battle League for more exciting action within the Mirrored City. And I hope you enjoyed this episode, whānau. Stormcast, Khorne, classic showdown, good versus evil, and unfortunately didn't manage to pull through the win. But more exciting Warhammer Underworlds battles to continue. Next week we see the final game of round 1 with Magor's Fiends taking on Molog's Mob. So the forces of chaos appearing once again, taking on the forces of destruction. So don't miss out on that whānau. Also check out my other videos. I do Warhammer 40k battle reports. Currently just playing through some Kill Team games at the moment. Kill Team campaign, we've got Tower versus Dark Angels. Been pretty light on the 40k content in light of what's happening at the moment. Pretty hard to get out and about. So just playing at home with my patient and loving fiance, who I managed to swindle to helping me out. But I hope you're enjoying what I do. Follow me on Twitter for more updates from me, hobby stuff as well. Check out one of my other channels, Timestamp Tales, playing some D&D on there. But wherever you are, I hope you're staying safe, staying healthy, enjoying your hobby, enjoying whatever you do. And thanks again for hanging out with me for the last 20-30 minutes. I am your humble host, the maoriwargamer, the #1 YouTuber of New Zealand. Subscribe to my channel, like this video, share it with your family, friends, and gaming groups, and I'll catch you next time. Thank you for watching once again. Ka kite. Anō.